Welcome to our weekly meditation, and I'm not going to use Sarah Bessie tonight, although I suppose what she's been talking about is connected or is implicit in the idea of spiritual formation. I was listening to another podcast this week, and the theme of transformation suggestion, which I really like, that transformation equates to salvation. But of course, the spiritual journey or our spiritual formation is beset with obstacles, not least what they called the automatic responses of the body. So when we just react and we're not controlling those reactions, which again, I really like this. That's something we might think of as being called sin, that which gets in the way of our relationships with each other, with God. So a primary role for us is, to quote, to make deeper and deeper layers of our inner being, our heart, open to God, which I hope is what we're doing through this practice of meditation, making deeper and deeper layers of our inner being, our heart, open to God. So anyone's just joined us? I think Kathy has just joined us. Our routine is that we begin with some breathing and relaxation, a slowing down, a letting go, and then some thoughts and a short period of contemplation before we move to a longer period of silence, usually with music to take us there. So we go through this routine, which most of you are familiar with, adjusting where we're sitting or lying, becoming aware of that connection with the chair, with the ground through our feet, feeling comfortable, but just moving so that we are alert as well. And closing your eyes or lowering your gaze or using the image, we take 2 conscious, deep, cleansing breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And you'll probably hear me doing it. Just take 2 more and really focusing your attention on the breath. Conscious of the sensations, the sound that you make, the movement of the air, the rising of the belly with that in-breath, the fall with the out-breath. All the attention on that breath. That breath that comes in from the outside. That breath, that air that's connecting all of us. And we breathe it in. Filling and then letting go. So after noticing the breath, as you continue to breathe more deeply, more slowly, more intentionally, just notice and sense the weight of your body where you're sitting or lying. Imagine those points of contact. Take your attention there. Almost relaxing and allowing them to melt into the earth. and at the same time sense and be aware of the solidity of the earth, upholding and supporting you. Feel yourself held safely against the earth. Another form of connection. All of us, all things, large to small, held by this same force. So having established and become aware of that connection with the earth, return to the breath and that connection with the air, with the atmosphere. We're almost a bridge, aren't we, between heaven and earth, the ground and the air. In through the nose. Maybe now just add a count to 4 on the in-breath, hold for 2, 5 on the out-breath, and another count to 2 after the out-breath. And so as you continue to breathe slowly and purposefully, some thoughts from 2 or 3 different writers. Firstly, Dallas Willard, a Southern Baptist from the States, who says, spiritual formation in the tradition of Jesus Christ is the process of transformation of the inmost dimension of the human being, the heart, the same as the spirit or will. It is being formed, really transformed, in such a way that its natural expression comes to be the deeds of Christ done in the power of Christ. He quotes 1 or 2 passages and then says, these New Testament progressions always conclude with agape. Agape is the center of it all. And quotes the Apostle Paul, beyond all these things put on love, which is the perfect bond of unity. And again, because the love of God has been poured out within our hearts through the Holy Spirit who was given to us. And then he says, and this is something I think we'll pick up on in subsequent weeks. So the need as we approach the topic of spiritual formation is to understand as well as we can what is our part and what is God's part, and take care of our part that God may be able to work with us in bringing us to be the kinds of people that we need to be and he wants us to be. And our old friend Richard Raw, unless we are led to some kind of contemplative practices that continually reveal our dualistic, argumentative and biased ways of thinking, we won't move into a new stage of life. We'll just have opinions or things that we believe. What we really need is a sustained practice that rewires and transforms our hearts and minds. And Raw says that the sustained practice of contemplation involves letting go of all the things that we use to define our so-called separate selves, and it helps us access our true self, the part of us that is always connected to God. And so for a few moments of short silence, our contemplation perhaps, we might start to think about our automatic responses of the body. What, I wonder, are we aware of about the way we respond or react? Are we prone to defensiveness? To be critical? To say, yes, but? Are we perhaps fragile and feel that, are we prone to feel that we are being criticized? What can we discern from any recent situations or interactions? Maybe just pause and allow your mind to rewind or recall. No judgment, but just anything you might notice in looking back on anything. So important not to judge, but this is a part of our self-awareness and of stepping back and observing ourselves. Reflecting on a past incident or situation can be so powerful to say, what happened? Why did that happen? What might I learn from that? Or a simple mantra we use, what next? What, so what next? Maybe if you are aware of something, I know I've got things that I'm consciously working on, just bring that tendency, that response, and hold it gently. Looking at it, or maybe gently asking for it to be transformed. And a final writer on experiencing love, as Dallas Willard said, Agape is the center of it all. So Felicia Murrell invites us to practice knowing and experiencing God's love. God is in our midst, a God who exults over us with joy, who quiets us in love, who rejoices over us with shouts of joy and gathers those who grieve. Quoting Zephaniah there. But, she says, how do we get to the place where this is the God we see, the God we encounter and know, the God who frames our imaginings? Stillness, perhaps. Contemplative prayer, maybe. Consistent engagement with spiritual practices often invites us into such spaciousness, creating access points for us to become more consciously aware of divine love's expression in us and through us. She goes on, to that end, all spiritual practices have this purpose, to allow us to touch the depths of our inner selves and to live a generous life of participation with divine love in absolute open-heartedness. To move from what we know in our heads about God to living and moving and having our being in God. To be present in this life, to the world around us, and to divine love. Quite a powerful image of moving from head to heart. Certainly something I'm aware I need to do more of. And so we'll move to our longer silence with a Taizé chant. I'm sure I shall see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Yes, I shall see the goodness of our God. Hold firm, trust in the Lord. And so in our silence, you may just want to practice the breathing. Or move from head to heart and walk down that imaginary inner staircase to your heart center, to that inner room. Or reflect again on any events from the past days or week. And reflect on our automatic responses of the body and where and how those might be changed or transformed. So we come out of our silence, maybe taking another deep breath, maybe stretching the fingers, moving the toes, the feet. And a closing word from Psalm 116, reflecting that Taizé chant. Be at rest once more, O my soul, for the Lord has been good to you. For you, O Lord, have delivered my soul from death, my eyes from tears, my feet from stumbling, that I may walk before the Lord in the land of the living. Amen.